My mother-in-law accused me of cheating because she thinks my newborn son is ugly. I'm 28, married to Mike, who's 30. We've been together for 3 years and just welcomed our first child, a boy named James. What should have been the happiest moment of our lives turned into a nightmare because of my mother-in-law, Linda, 55. She's never liked me. When Mike introduced me to his parents, Linda made it crystal clear I wasn't good enough for her son. I come from a working-class family, Mike's family is wealthy. Linda constantly threw shade at my job as a nurse, saying Mike deserved better than someone changing bedpans. But Mike and I love each other, and we got married anyway. We met at a charity event, Mike was there with friends, and I was volunteering for my nursing program. We clicked instantly because we both love helping people. Mike was different from other guys I dated, and he didn't care that I wasn't rich. He admired my hard work to become a nurse. Our relationship moved fast, within a year, we were talking marriage. That's when I met Linda. Mike warned me she could be tough, but I wasn't prepared for her venom. At their house, she looked at me like I was trash, barely shook my hand, and gave a fake smile. Over dinner, she grilled me about my family, job, and plans, her face getting darker with every answer. Later, I overheard her telling Mike he could do better, even mentioning her friend's daughter, a law student. Mike defended me, but I knew this would be a problem. Despite Linda's disapproval, we got engaged a few months later. She was horrified, trying to convince Mike to delay the wedding, claiming we were too young. When that failed, she pushed for a lavish wedding we couldn't afford. Mike shut it down, and we had the small wedding we wanted. Linda was pissed the whole time, even giving a speech about hoping I'd rise to their level as part of their family, humiliating, but we didn't let her ruin our day. After the wedding, Linda kept causing trouble. She tried setting Mike up with other women, saying he'd lowered himself by choosing me and that our kids would be average because of my family. Mike always had my back, which made her hate me more. She'd show up unannounced, criticizing our furniture, food, everything. Once, she even brought a woman she ran into to meet Mike. He was so mad he didn't talk to her for weeks. Despite her nonsense, Mike and I were happy. I became a senior nurse, and Mike was doing great at work. We wanted a kid but waited until we were ready. When we announced my pregnancy, Linda wasn't thrilled, just said she hoped the baby would look like their family. She insisted on tagging along to my doctor's appointments, questioning everything from my doctor to my vitamins, even though we asked her to back off. As my due date neared, she got worse, demanding I live with her for the last month of my pregnancy because she didn't trust Mike to care for me. I refused, and we had a huge fight. Labor was rough, 36 hours of contractions, but Mike was by my side. When James was born, we were over the moon. He had Mike's dark hair. We stayed in the hospital for 2 days, exhausted but happy. Mike called our families to say we'd be home soon. Linda insisted on coming to help, despite us wanting time alone with James. When Mike drove us home, we were floored. All my stuff, clothes, books, nursing uniform, was dumped on the front lawn for the neighbors to see. Linda stood in the doorway, smirking. I was horrified. Mike, furious, told me to stay in the car with James while he dealt with her. As he approached, Linda screamed, "How dare you come back, you cheater!" She yelled that she always knew I wasn't good enough for Mike and now had proof. Mike was baffled. "What are you talking about?" he snapped. Pointing at James in the car, Linda said, "That's not your kid. No baby in our family has ever been that ugly. You cheated on my son and want to trap him with another man's child." I couldn't believe my ears. Mike tried to reason with her, but she wouldn't listen, ranting that I was worthless and she was protecting her son. I got out, holding James, crying and begging her to stop, but she kept spewing vile insults. Mike had enough. He told her to get out of our house. She refused, claiming she was there to help her son and grandson, forgetting she'd just denied James was Mike's. Mike grabbed her suitcase, put it outside, and said, "You need to leave. You're not welcome here." Linda thought Mike would side with her, but he didn't. "Mom, go," he said firmly. "What you did is unforgivable." Realizing she'd lost, Linda grabbed her bag and stormed off, screaming she'd come back to save Mike and James from me. We brought James inside, put him in his crib, and talked. Mike was livid at his mom for accusing me of cheating and trying to kick me out of my own home. It took hours to bring my stuff back inside and clean up. Mike's phone blew up with calls and texts from Linda and other relatives. She'd already spread her lies about my infidelity. That night, with James asleep, we decided Linda was banned from our home and from seeing James until she apologized and proved she could act normal. Mike said he'd cut contact with her for a while. I called my parents, who were furious and offered to stay with us to help. We agreed. It's been a week, and things are still rough. Linda keeps calling and texting, alternating between apologies and more accusations. Mike's dad is trying to mediate, but some of Mike's relatives think we're too harsh on Linda, saying she was just protecting her son and we should forgive her for family's sake. Others get why we're mad and support keeping her away until she behaves. I feel bad for Mike. This should be a joyful time with our newborn, but he's dealing with family drama and a toxic mom. I'm trying to support him and care for James, but I'm angry and hurt. I've always tried to be a good wife, and now a good mom. Linda's attack and attempt to destroy my family are beyond comprehension. We're both struggling, juggling new parent emotions and this insanity. Mike's trying to stay strong for me and James, but I can see he's exhausted. We're barely sleeping, and it's not just the baby. Mike's considered a restraining order against Linda but worries about family backlash. We've even talked about moving to another city to escape the drama, but we love our jobs and home. It feels unfair to upend our lives because of her. Mike tried talking to his dad, hoping he'd rein her in, but his dad avoids conflict with Linda to keep the peace. I've always valued family, but now I'm not sure if it's worth maintaining ties with someone this cruel, even if she's my mother-in-law. We're considering family therapy to cope, but with a newborn, finding time is tough. Last week, things got worse. Linda showed up at Mike's office, crying and telling everyone he was keeping her from her grandson. His colleagues were shocked, and his boss wasn't happy about the scene. Mike had to explain the situation, which was humiliating. Then Linda called my workplace, telling my coworkers I'm a bad mom who had another man's baby. My boss was understanding, but it was mortifying, and I worried it could affect my job. Mike's sister, Emma, 27, initially sided with Linda, believing her lies about my cheating. She called Mike, saying awful things about him choosing me over his real family. It hurt him. They'd always been close. But then Emma came over when Mike wasn't home, wanting to see James. I was nervous but let her in. When she saw James, she did a 180, he looked so much like Mike. She realized Linda was lying, apologized, and promised to set the family straight. Emma became our biggest ally, standing up to Linda and the relatives. This caused a huge family rift. Linda didn't like losing Emma and spread rumors that Emma was jealous because she's single and childless, which crushed Emma. It got crazier. Linda hired a private investigator to follow me, convinced I was cheating. He trailed me to work, the store, even doctor's appointments. I felt scared and humiliated. When Mike found out, he was furious and threatened Linda with a lawsuit and restraining order. She cried, claiming she was just protecting him, but he wasn't buying it. The final straw was Linda trying to sue us for grandparent visitation rights. Her lawyer told her she had no case, especially since she'd never even met James, but the stress was killing me. I started having breastfeeding issues and losing weight fast. My doctor worried about postpartum depression. Mike insisted I take time off work to recover. Mike's dad finally saw how serious this was. He came over, apologized for not stepping in sooner, and promised to deal with Linda and support our decision to keep her away. Things are calming down 3 months after James's birth. Linda's calls and texts have slowed, and most of Mike's family now gets our side. Emma visits often and is a great aunt to James. Was I wrong to support Mike in kicking out his mom and banning her from seeing our son? Before we move on, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments and answer the author's question. I think she was absolutely right. Linda's behavior is beyond unhinged. Let's see what happened next. Update 1, 6 months later. So much has happened since my first post. Thanks to everyone for the support. It's been an emotional roller coaster, and this community has helped so much. Here's the update. Linda's behavior got worse. She started going to our neighbors, spreading lies that we're bad parents and they should call child services. Some neighbors believed her, giving us dirty looks. Others told us what she was up to. It was humiliating. Our personal life was the neighborhood gossip. One day, when Mike was at work, Linda showed up, banging on the door and screaming for hours. I was terrified, holding James and trying to calm him while she raged outside. I called the police, but she left just before they arrived. They took a report but said there wasn't much they could do since she was gone. After that, we installed security cameras around the house. The stress started affecting Mike's job. His boss called him in, saying he seemed distracted and his work was slipping. Mike had to explain the drama with his mom. His boss was sympathetic but warned him to focus or risk his position. This added financial pressure to an already tense situation. My parents moved in to help with James, giving us a break, but Linda hated that. She spread rumors that my parents were turning Mike against his real family and even called my dad's workplace, claiming he was an alcoholic who shouldn't be around kids. Total lies, but he had to answer to his boss, which was humiliating. Things escalated when Mike's cousin Emmy got married. We weren't invited because Linda told everyone we didn't want to be part of family events, claiming we thought we were better than them since having James. It hurt Mike. He and Emmy were close growing up, and he'd been excited for her wedding. Emma, Mike's sister, defended us at the wedding, telling everyone how Linda accused me of cheating and tried to kick me out. It caused a massive scene at the reception. Some relatives agreed Linda went too far, but others believed her lies and accused Emma of betraying the family. The fight got so bad that Emmy, the bride, broke down crying, and her new husband kicked everyone out early. Emmy later called Mike, sobbing that her wedding was ruined because of our family drama. Mike felt awful, even though it wasn't his fault. The family split in half. Some cut us off, blocking us on social media and ignoring our calls. Others apologized and said they believed us. Linda's brother, Uncle Joe, was especially supportive, saying he always knew his sister was difficult but never imagined she'd go this far. Linda then tried a new tactic, acting super sweet. She sent gifts for James, apology cards, even gift certificates for fancy restaurants for us to have a date night. We were skeptical but hoped she'd changed, especially Mike, who missed having a normal relationship with his mom. Against our better judgment, we let her visit with strict rules, only when we're both home, and she's never alone with James. At first, she was polite, gushing over James and bringing homemade food Mike loves. But it was all an act. On her third visit, when Mike stepped out to the bathroom, Linda tried to bolt with James. Her car was running in the driveway, and she had his things stashed in her bag. If my mom hadn't been there to stop her, she might have kidnapped our son. We called the police, and this time, they arrested Linda for attempted kidnapping. Mike broke down seeing his mom in handcuffs. She spent a night in jail. Mike's dad finally saw the full picture. He came over the next day, exhausted and defeated, saying he was divorcing Linda and apologizing for not believing us sooner. He asked to stay part of James's life, promising to respect our boundaries. After a long talk, we agreed, but made it clear he can't share info with Linda. Mike felt relieved his dad saw the truth but heartbroken watching his family fall apart. His dad started therapy to cope with his guilt and stress, which has helped him. I went back to work part-time. It was hard leaving James at first, but it's been good to focus on something else. My co-workers were supportive, especially after hearing about Linda. My boss adjusted my schedule so I could be home when Mike's dad visited James. Despite the chaos, James is thriving, growing fast and looking more like Mike every day. It's bittersweet knowing he won't have a relationship with his grandma, but it's for the best. We're surrounding him with love and positivity. Emma's been a rock, visiting often and bonding with James. She helps Mike remember good times with their mom while supporting his choice to keep her at a distance. Emma even confronted Linda, telling her to get professional help or lose contact with her too. Linda didn't like losing control over Emma and started claiming Emma was on drugs, even planting substances in Emma's car and calling the police. Luckily, the cops were skeptical of the anonymous tip and didn't charge her, but it was a scary, humiliating ordeal. The false accusation caused issues at Emma's job. Her boss heard the rumors and fired her to avoid trouble. Emma was devastated. She'd worked hard for that position. We offered to let her stay with us while she job searched, and she moved in. It's a bit cramped, but we're glad she's here. Mike's dad is trying to make things right, offering to pay for family therapy, including Linda if she agrees to work on herself. We debated and said yes, but only if Linda gets individual help first. Our first session was rough. Linda cried, saying she just wanted her family back and felt lonely since her husband left. The therapist was firm, telling her to own her actions and the harm she caused. Linda didn't like that, yelled at the therapist for being biased, and stormed out. Mike was upset, feeling like we took a step back. Some of Mike's aunts and uncles reached out, apologizing for believing Linda's lies and asking to meet James. We're still deciding, they betrayed us too many times. We're also updating our will to ensure Linda can never get custody of James if something happens to us, naming my parents and Emma as guardians. Things are better in some ways, but it's still tough. Linda keeps causing problems, but we're stronger as a couple and family. We're moving forward, but it sometimes feels like we're still in the dark. Thanks for listening and supporting us. Update 2, 6 months later, 1 year since first post. Not much has happened, but I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. Here's where we're at. Mike's having work issues, his company is restructuring and might lay off staff, including him. We're stressed, trying to save money in case he loses his job, but it's hard after spending so much on lawyers because of Linda. Somehow, she found out about Mike's job situation, probably from a colleague, and started calling and texting, offering money if he loses his job. We know it's her way of worming back into our lives, so we don't respond. Then she started showing up at his workplace, saying she needed to discuss family matters. She came so often his boss told her to stop, which made things worse for Mike at work. We're worried it could tip the scales toward him getting laid off. The stress is affecting James, he's having nightmares and gets upset when we leave him with a sitter, crying and clinging to us. We're also facing new legal issues. Linda found out we're changing our will to block her from getting custody of James. She's furious, threatening to sue if we go through with it, telling people we're unhinged from stress and can't make sound decisions. Our lawyers say she has no case, but it's still nerve-wracking. Mike's dad is trying to help, but his divorce with Linda is a mess. She's spreading lies about him and trying to take most of his retirement savings. We want to support him, but we're stretched thin. Edit, many asked why we're struggling financially if Mike's family is wealthy. His parents are wealthy, not him. Update 3, 1 year later, 2 years since first post. I finally remembered my account password. It's been a year since my last update, and so much has happened. Thanks for all the advice and support in comments and DMs. It's been a tough road, but we're hanging in there. Mike lost his job in the company layoffs, a huge blow. We had some savings, but with legal fees from Linda's chaos, they weren't enough. I took extra hospital shifts, but it's been rough. Linda saw this as her chance to barge back in, calling and texting Mike with offers of money if we'd let her back into our lives. We ignored her, but she showed up at our house with a check, trying to force her way in. Mike slammed the door in her face. I was proud of him for holding firm, but she didn't stop. She told everyone we're broke and can't care for James, even calling child services to claim we couldn't feed him. They checked and saw James was fine, but the experience was humiliating and terrifying. Mike's dad helped by giving us some money, which we reluctantly accepted. We desperately needed it but felt awkward, knowing he's struggling too. His divorce with Linda is a nightmare. She's demanding half of everything, including his retirement, and dragging it out in court to make it as painful as possible. Then Linda got hold of Mike's resume and started sending it to companies, pretending to be him, even creating fake email addresses in his name. Mike got calls for interviews he never applied for, causing a mess. We spent hours calling companies to explain, and some blacklisted him, thinking he was unreliable. His job search got way harder. Emma's been our rock, helping with James and job hunting with Mike while defending us to the family. But it's taken a toll. She's on anxiety meds now. Then Linda started a smear campaign on social media, creating a Justice for Grandma Facebook page, now deleted, with lies that we're abusive parents, that Mike's an alcoholic, he doesn't drink, and that I'm cheating with his non-existent boss. Some relatives believed her. Mike's aunt left nasty comments on my posts, and his cousin confronted him in a grocery store, accusing him of betraying the family. We've had to block so many people, it feels like we're losing our support network. The worst was when Linda showed up at James's daycare, claiming she had the right to take him. Thankfully, the staff knew the situation and didn't let her, but it scared us to death. We pulled James from that daycare and found a new one, which was a financial nightmare. We finally got a restraining order against Linda. The hearing was brutal. She played the heartbroken grandma, crying about wanting to see her grandson. But our lawyer presented evidence of her harassment and attempted kidnapping, and the judge granted the order. We thought it was over, but Linda got sneakier, using proxies to keep up her attacks. Mike's only found part-time work at a hardware store, which doesn't cover our bills. I'm picking up extra shifts, but legal and medical costs, James had a bad illness, with a high fever and vomiting, requiring an ER visit, are crushing us. Mike's dad had a minor heart attack from the stress of the divorce and Linda's antics. He's okay now, but it shook us. Mike feels guilty, like it's his fault, though I keep telling him it's not. Emma's living with their dad to help him recover, which means she's less available for us and James. Linda's now claiming on Facebook that she needs to see her dying husband, he's not dying, and that we're cruel for keeping her away. People believe her, sending us hateful messages. We've had to change our phone numbers again, she always finds a way to contact us. It's exhausting updating our info at work, James's daycare, and with friends, but it's necessary for peace. We're still fighting, still hurting, but also healing. Linda keeps causing chaos, but we're better at handling it. As a couple and family, we're stronger than ever, focusing on our little family and building a happy life despite everything. Edit, Mike got a promising job offer, not his field, but full-time with benefits. It could be a game changer. He has an interview next week. We're trying not to get our hopes up, but it's hard not to. Update 4, a few weeks later. I'm blown away by the support from comments and DMs, your advice, shared experiences, and kind words mean the world. I read every message, even if I couldn't reply. Some offered financial help or job leads for Mike, we didn't take the money, but your generosity touched us deeply. Here's the latest. Good news, Mike got the job. It's not his old field, and the pay's lower, but it's steady with good benefits. We're thrilled to have a regular income again, and Mike loves the work. Unfortunately, Linda hasn't stopped. She's sneakier now, sending anonymous letters to our neighbors claiming we're bad parents and need watching. Some neighbors told us about it, and most know the situation, but it's unsettling feeling like we're under a microscope. Mike's dad is doing better health-wise, but his divorce with Linda drags on. Emma found a new job and moved out but visits often to help with James. We made a tough call, we're moving to a new city 3 hours away. We said we wouldn't, but after Mike's job loss and Linda's relentless drama, we need a fresh start. Mike can transfer, and I found a hospital job opening. It's scary, but it feels right. Only Emma and Mike's dad know where we're going. We're also pursuing a permanent restraining order against Linda that'll follow us to the new address. This might not be the most satisfying ending for some, but it's life. This is likely my last update. To everyone who followed our story and sent support, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You helped us stay strong when we felt broken. Edit, people asked if we're in touch with Mike's dad and Emma. Yes, they're the only ones who know where we're moving. They'll visit once we're settled, and Mike's dad is even considering moving near us when his divorce is finalized. Emma's helping with the move. We're so grateful for them. Final thoughts. That's it. This situation was insanely complex, and Linda is one of the most toxic mother-in-laws I've come across in these stories. Her relentless, calculated attacks on this family are unreal. She's faced no real consequences beyond the divorce and being cut off from Mike, which feels like a light punishment for her actions. What do you think? Share in the comments. Check out our previous videos linked here and subscribe for more wild stories like this.